Hi crafting family. Today we're going to make some um, notepad ledgers, like this. And this is made from Dollar Tree pads and paper. I was trying to use up my paper and needed to use my scrapbook and also wanted to use some recycle. So today we're going to make something like this. And for the supplies, you're going to need some chipboard or cardstock, and I'll show you a couple of different options that I have. We're going to be using recycled box right now, but if you wanted to have a supply of these, I would recommend getting some comic book boards. These are the 6 3/4 by 10.5 size, and these are acid-free, soft chipboard but firm. And these are the ones that they use to hold comic books in. So if it's good enough for comic books, it's good enough to make stuff with. So I've been using these for, gosh, decades now to make scrapbooking and art stuff and, bookmarks. And a lot of my friends that have the stuff that I gave them still have it. So it's pretty interesting. So anyway, so you can use that, or like I said, you can use a gift box and recycle it. So here we go. For our supplies, we're going to use some chipboard or cardstock and some paper. You want a bone folder, scissors, a blade if you like, if you need it. I use a poker to lift up the tape. Big part of this project is double-sided tape. You can use this kind, or you can use the Dollar Tree kind. This works just fine. Or you can use the Scotch brand paper type that you can buy in the office supply store. You also need a pen to mark your boxes and measurements. And of course, you need the 5 by 8 notepad that you're going to make the folder for. The first thing I'm going to do is to measure 2 5 1/4 by 8 1/4 sheets of paper using my paper cutter. And I'm also going to be cutting out a small part. I'm not worried about the folds in this because it's pretty close to what I need in terms of the size. And I'm just going to clean this box up really good. All right, so I'm going to get about an 8-inch, 8 1/4. So now I'm going to cut out a 5 1/4 piece of this thing, and another 5 1/4. 5 and a smidge. I'll call 5 and a smidge. Sorry, I was turning off my video accidentally while I was doing that, so. Okay. So now I have my 3 pieces cut out. This is like a 1/4 inch sheet of paper. And this one is 5 and a smudge, and 8 and a smudge. This one's the same size. So these are both the same size. And like I said, I'm not worried about the imperfections. I'm going to be covering this up with this beautiful wood printed paper, so it'll be fine. I'm going to turn the paper on the wrong side because I want to start gluing this paper down. But before I do that, I want to start by marking where I think the paper should be on this paper. Like I said, we have this little spine. And I'm just going to mark this here. I'm okay with where this is at right now. So the next thing we're going to do is to just go ahead and start taping both sides of this, of the chipboard. I'll call it chipboard, but it's actually like the recycled cardstock that we're using. So for this one, I am using double-sided tape, but you can certainly use some other type of tape. And I do 3 sides. And 3 sides on this one. And by 3 sides, I'm really just gluing or taping down the parts that have to be really taped down, like the edges of the board. Now I'm done with this part. I'm also going to put tape on the on this spine of the journal. And again, I thought this was a good project. I was inspired by Posh Paper Lady, Sherry. Her name is Sherry, and she's a very creative woman who has a channel. So please go check her channel out. And she was making purses and, you know, journals and gift stuff. And it was just so much fun watching her that I was inspired to just, you know, make my own. And so here I am. So now I want to put glue, tape, continue to put tape on the back. Of my Coach box. So I think this would be a good project if you needed to make gifts for folks and you needed to make, you know, some inexpensive gifts that people can actually use. And, you know, you can reuse some of the stuff that you have at home. And it's all good, you know. It's good for the environment. It's good for, it's cost effective, you know, you have, and you can show your appreciation for the folks that you care about, and have a little something to give to somebody that you've made. I can show you, you know, you can, even if you're a sticker person, you can put some stickers on the cover of this and make it be very, you know, as on trend as you like it to be, or as maybe if you're a community organizer, you can use it and be as radical as you'd like to be. You can put your quotes in there. There's just so many things you can do with a journal cover. So now I'm going to remove the tape covers for this side of it, of the and I don't know why I'm using my finger. I really do a lot better with the pokey tool, which we'll call the pokey tool, in terms of just being able to poke out, you know, the tapes. And I try to put the tape side on the outside, so that it'll stick really good. It'll stick really good. Okay, now that these are stuck, I'm going to trim it off. And you can use your scissors for this, or you can use your blade. It's just to trim off the excess. We'll recycle that. We'll possibly reuse that. Then I'm going to lop off a side of this, the corners. And this is to make the corners not so bulky. This is just to give it a really nice finished look. Now, so you see that the right side of the paper is right here. I'm going to practice and rehearse and audition the folds that I have placed in here using my bone folder. We haven't undone any of the tapes yet, but I'm going to get ready to do that as soon as I finish auditioning these folds. And by auditioning, we really just mean like pre-folding them, making sure that they are going to be snug and attached to that piece of glue tape. Okay, so I'm going to rehearse these middle joints again. All right, so now I'm getting ready to release this paper. I'm going to use my pokey tool to do that. And if you're looking at my nails, please don't. The reason why my nails are so messed up is because I was doing a resin pour this afternoon out in the sun. A resin pour is where you put a bunch of paint on your canvas or in a cup, or I was using a cup for my pour. And you basically end up doing some really cool stuff. So I was doing that this afternoon. I'm just going to attach both of these, attaching the corners as well, So now you have pretty much, you know, half of the inside. This is going to go in there like that, but we have to first cover this part. This is the unfinished part. And so if you remember correctly, our overall size here is going to be around 10.5 or so. Yeah, 10 3/4 by 8 1/4. And I want to cut a piece of paper, cardstock paper, that's just a tad shorter than that. So I'm going to grab a piece of cardstock. And I'm going to trim this to be about, so this was, oops, about 7¼ perhaps. If it's too long, I can trim it some more, and maybe about 10. This is going to be the inside of this folder portfolio. So in order to do this part, I'm going to sort of crease where find the crease of where the first fold is, so that I can sort of position this inside paper to be folded into the groove, so to speak. And I want to do that by lining the middle fold and this outside. And I'm going to grab my tape and use that to align. Oops, just moved it. This and that. So now I'm going to remove this tape because I want to expose the tape so I can stick 1/2 side of it to this side of the paper. And then, so that attaches it to this side. And then I want to also, of course, do this second fold, which I'm going to audition on this side. Coolness. So I'm going to put some tape on this part of the portfolio. So as I undo that glue, I am now almost done. So the next thing we're going to do is to put the little tab, oops, that we will use. Oops. Sometimes when it buckles up like this, it's okay to just lift it off. And I don't like the buckle. You don't want that. You want it to be smooth. And it's okay if it's not flat when you open it, because it's not supposed to be. So I have an extra piece of cardstock here, and I'm going to use it as the holder of sorts for this part of the back of the pad. And what I do to approximate this is I grab the paper, the pad paper that I'm trying to mount, and fold it here as an approximation guide of where it should be, and put some tape on that. All right. So let's take this tape off. And when you have extra tape like this, one thing you can do is you can just bend that back here. If you have excess tape, they stick to themselves, so you can fold that up. It's not gonna affect, you know, the overall performance. It's gonna keep you from having parts of your project that you don't necessarily want to attach not attached. Okay, so this is sort of like the I'm going to adjust that to be about here, and I'm going to put it a little crooked, so I'm going to carefully just reattach it so that it's a little more even. Use my bone folder to do that and reattach this part. And right, so you're almost done. You can stop right here, or you can embellish it with some stickers and whatnot. And for me, I have my own handmade stickers that I use, so I'm going to attach one of those here, and it says inhale courage, exhale fear. So you can do that, and there you go. Cool. Inhale courage, exhale fear.